This is the moment.
The Bachelorette is back. And the power
I'm gonna fall in love.
is in Jen's hands.
And I'm gonna do it my way.
ABC Mondays.
Everything about her is great.
I feel so special.
Jen's looking like a queen.
My men are very, very hot.
Someone call 911. You are looking so fired.
This is the beginning of a new era.
The Bachelorette. All new Mondays, 8, 7 Central on ABC. And stream on Hulu.
This program contains subject matter and language that may be disturbing to some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
We're having more technical problems. We live in the 21st century.
Savage, unfiltered.
Not only should we not be employed, but we gave $30 billion. Did you know we gave $30 billion to this film?
Your host, Michael Gard. Like a Hellcat.
Instead of making the wealthy pay their fair share, some Republicans want Medicare and Social Security to sunset. I'm not saying it's a majority. Let me give you, anybody who doubts it, contact my office. I'll give you a copy. I'll give you a copy of the proposal. That means Congress doesn't vote. Well, I'm glad to see you. And I tell you, I enjoy conversion.
This guy's a liar.
You know, it means if Congress doesn't keep the programs the way they are, they'd go away. Other Republicans say, I'm not saying it's a majority of you. I don't even think it's even a significant, but it's being proposed by individuals.
Hello, Marjorie.
I'm not politely not naming them, but it's being proposed by some of you. Look, folks, the idea is that we're not going to be moved into being threatened to default on the debt if we don't respond. Folks.
Come again, Joe. Are you kidding me? God, are you kidding me? Oh my God, this is terrible. I mean, literally terrible, guys. I'm about to bring in the co-host here in a momentarily here, Joseph, to the show. But I mean, this is unbearable. You know, you got a president that's literally spewing out rhetoric during the State of the Union address last night, and then you got Marjorie Taylor Greene in the background calling Joe for what he is. He's a fucking liar, man. Literally a liar. It's not the majority of the Republicans, but it's just a few. It's just a few. It's just a few. Just a few, Joseph.
Yeah, he's not naming names because if he was honest to name the name Marjorie Taylor Greene, you could actually look at her proposal and see that he just lied about her proposal, mischaracterized it, takes it out of context. We, the Republicans, going all the way back to George W. Bush, and I've written on this, have been trying to save Social Security and Medicare for decades. And the Democrats, with Cloward and Piven, want it to go bankrupt.
Oh, sure. I mean, that's the way it is, Joseph. I mean, but here's my point, Joseph. I want to bring to the show. Do you think that Marjorie Taylor Greene had the right to stand up, shout? Because if you notice, you know, there's mics all over the that Congress chamber there. I forgot where they do it. They do it at the regular Capitol, right?
Yeah.
But anyways,
Yep.
Yeah. But do you think that it was right for Marjorie Taylor Greene to basically come up and shout liar, because if you heard it correctly, you could see liar come out of her mouth, even though the mics were muted right over her. She stood up and said, "You're a liar. You're a liar." Who's spewing out lies?
Remember a few years ago when Obama was president, and I forget who it was who stood up and said, "You lie," and it was heard clearly in the House chamber and on C-SPAN and everywhere. The only problem with that is she is correct.
Yeah.
He lied. But the problem, of course, is we all know the liberal media will now spin what happened about how disrespectful the Republicans were. And they will repeat Joe's lie, and they will take portions of her proposal out of context and spin it to try to bolster what Biden lied about during the State of the Union. So unfortunately, there are a lot of morons. They won't do any iota of research for themselves. That exchange should tell people, hey, there's a dispute here. Maybe, just maybe, I should look at Marjorie Taylor Greene's proposal and see which one of them actually is telling the truth and expose Joe Biden as the liar he is. But they won't do that. They want to
Joseph, they're playing politics, man. They're playing politics. That's what's going on. They're playing politics. There's a lot of scandals coming on. I mean, guys, if you're paying attention to the video here, if you're viewing us here on Rumble, thank you very much. I mean, here's the thing. They're playing politics. We know that there are rogue departments of the DOJ, that are trying to cover up, Joe's little mess, his little squanders of documents. Joseph, there is, on the record, the DOJ have agreed to hide the documents. We've said this on a show just previously. They have agreed to this.
Yeah, and not only that, the laptop and the Biden crime family shenanigans, they need to cover that, it's getting to the point where they're not able to hide that anymore. So they need distractions and deflections. And before we go any further, I want to say, thankfully, I set the alarm clock I have here in the living room, or I would have missed the show, because these are just a few of the heated back and forth that we're all going on about on Retalk, the social media platform, as well as Gab and the Truth Social. Although Truth Social, unfortunately, the character limitation is short. So I mainly go on Retalk and Gab, where we can deal in detailed
Well,
discussion.
Speaking of Retalk, Joseph, what are they saying on Retalk?
Still the State of the Union, obviously, the Biden crime family laptop evidence, the CCP balloon fiasco, still, of course, but a lot of these things, that's the problem with Twitter. Left-wing loons want to deal in sound bites like idiot Joe Biden produced, and they'll regurgitate. And things need a detailed explanation as to how and why he's wrong. He's a liar.
He's nothing but a damn liar. He was spilling out lies after lies after lies. And I'm glad Marjorie Taylor Greene stuck up to the plate there last night at the State of the Union address, because, Joseph, it turned out to be a damn clown show. I mean, he's supposed to be addressing the American public on what or where America is heading in the next, 20, 30, possibly 50, 100 years from now. But instead of doing that as a president, he was basically making like blames and everything else on the Republicans about Medicare and other types of things that they're trying to pass in the House. This would be passed unless we had certain Republicans, and I'm not going to name a few,
Yeah. And the issue here is we can't just call him a liar. We have to provide the evidence that expose and show his lies. And I called the SOTU, we all use as the abbreviation. I tweeted, didn't tweet because I'm still perma-banned, but on my 15 social media platforms, I posted SOTU tonight.
Yeah.
State of the Union? No. I relabeled it SOTU, Sleepy Joe offering 1,000 untruths. That's what SOTU stands for. Sleepy Joe offering 1,000 untruths.
Yeah.
And that's what it was.
Well, hold that thought before we take a break, guys, because I got to get a break in soon, obviously, But we have a tweet coming from Linda here. That's I viewing us here on the Spaces. Thank you very much, Linda C. She wants to see, a little race discussion here because she said that she's seen part of the State of the Union last night where Joe was invoking race into it. You know how Joe is. I mean, he's going to do the race baiting and everything. And you ain't black if you don't vote for Joe Biden. That kind of stupid shit. But Miss Linda C., thank you very much for supporting the show, guys. We're going to put that graphic up. Shaky, please put it up. You got the graphic, right? Okay. Miss Linda C. there, replying to my Twitter there, @Keaton Savage. No, LOL. Are you doing your space on race still tomorrow at 10 a.m.? Well, it was actually 11 a.m., but thank you. She can't find it. Oh, God. You can't find it. What, was it taken down or something?
I wouldn't doubt if one of the liberal troll snowflake holdovers at Twitter isn't secretly trying to hide the show. But yes, Linda, absolutely, of course, as always, the left and their endless race baiting. This is another hot issue we've been going over on Retalk social media.
Right.
The Ilhan Omar being removed from the Foreign Affairs Committee for anti-Semitic and other terrorist sympathizing statements she's made. And she proved our point why she doesn't belong on the Foreign Affairs Committee by saying, I will be a representative for all those around the world without a voice. You're elected to represent the people of your district, not terrorists around the world. And of course, they try to make it about her being black. Well, Swalwell and Pencilneck Lion Schiff aren't black. They were removed for cause from the Intelligence Committee. So that argument, of course, another distraction, their usual race baiting bullshit. Then it's because she's a Muslim. Well, Swalwell is a Christian and Schiff is a Jew. It has nothing to do with race or religion or anything but your willingness to
It's
show...
the race baiting, Joseph. That's what it is. Plain and
they
simple.
Are
race
liars.
Baiting.
Again,
they are liars.
To Joe Biden. They lie. How many times did Schiff come out from an intelligence meeting and say, I've seen the evidence against Trump? There's never been any because there isn't any. I'm part of the Mighty 200 on Twitter before I was banned. We were part of the whole political Hillary
Joseph, have you written the Twitter
collusion?
Have you written the Twitter about possibly lifting the ban?
Yes, and haven't heard a damn thing back, of course. But they, to be fair, the team Elon's it's got a lot going on, and I saw a news story the other day.
The liberal swamp,
They find and fix one thing and there's literal bombs attached, that it lands up breaking something else.
Yeah.
They purposefully sabotaged the code before Elon took over.
Yep. Yeah. It's terrible what's going on. Thank you very much, Comment, for coming to the spaces. Thank you very much. Leave those comments if you want to talk. I'll give you the mic. Yeah, I mean, this is what's going on here, guys, in America. This is the constant rhetoric of what's going on, guys. We got a lot more to talk about. Go ahead, Joseph, real quick. I gotta get a break in, buddy.
Sarah Huckabee Sanders' response perfectly summed it up. It's about normal people, those of us on the right caring about normal people, and the leftist loons crazy, outlandish agenda for less than 1% of the population.
Yeah, I totally agree, guys. More here on Savage. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back.
Love lower than low prices? Then get more ways to save at Kroger, where you can find personalized coupons, weekly deals, and rewards like fuel points. All for prices that are lower than low. On food that's fresher than fresh. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Film Degrees at Full Sail University puts the tools in your hands to develop your artistic vision and become a creative storyteller. In our film program, you'll gain hands-on experience working with professional equipment as you create films on our Hollywood-style backlot and sound stages, collaborate with a crew, and learn the tools and methods used in the industry. You can develop compelling scripts in our creative writing degree program, or learn to make magic with lights and audio in our show production program. It's all part of the real-world film education at Full Sail University. Learn more at fullsail.edu.
All right, guys, we're back here on the show. Thank you, Shaky. You're on top today. I really appreciate that. Buy you a beer later. I mean, really.
Another thing about what Sarah said, there was not one thing about the woke agenda they're peddling now. He knows it won't sell to the masses, but he knows that the Democrat, fascocrats, woke-tard snowflake base knows full well that the woke agenda is full steam ahead with this administration. But he can't talk about it to the general public because there is major backlash about it.
Yeah. Before we go any further, guys, I want to give a special thanks here. Joseph, myself, we're fired up on this. I mean, folks, before I get into some special thanks and shout outs there to where it's needed. You know what, Joseph, this reminds me of, you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of going into the wrong bar. Literally, you're in the wrong bar. Okay. And you're looking at your buddies, your friends, and you're like, what the fuck are we doing here? I mean, we're supposed to be at like the tin can, or we're supposed to be at, like the Broken Barrel or something. This is what it reminds me of. Rewind. Right. Rewind. This is like the Broken Barrel. This is what Joe is. Joe Biden reminds me of the bar, the Broken Barrel, down in the Jersey Shore when I used to party in my early 20s. I would go to this place and you would see like broken down people that, back in the day, we used to call it the hole in the wall, right? Type of bar. This is what this reminds me of. It's more than a clown show now. It's like a broken down bar full of old people that like, okay, no offense to old people, but okay, you had your time, you had your moment. I'm not trying to be mean, folks, but Joe, I mean, you got to go over there, okay? Sip your ice cream, sip your snow cones, and let the real man handle the job, because obviously you're old, you're yelling at a State of the Union address. Who the hell does that shit? I mean, it's terrible. Terrible. But before we get continued to the show, I have to say thank you to Lou Palumbo, which is the host of Between the Lines. Thank you very much. Had a great conversation with him driving back from Tampa, Florida. meeting with a publisher for the second book. So thank you very much, Lou. Had a great conversation. Actually spoke to a former FBI agent, Joseph. And we were talking about, the spy balloon. Some of it, obviously he couldn't get into, because, even though he's retired, he still knows things. But he's like, oh, you're going into classified information. We really can't discuss this on the show. He's like, where are you hearing this from? Because I mentioned the part where, this spy balloon, folks, was sitting in our country for a week before Joe Biden decided to shoot it down in South Carolina. That's what happened, Joseph.
Yeah, and shout out
Terrible.
to Lou and his producer Scott if you're listening.
Yeah.
I was on with Lou, then we discussed gun issues in America, and of course the leftist loon answer to everything is take guns from, it's like drunk driving. Don't punish drunk drivers. Take cars away from people who don't drive drunk. That that's their mentality. You don't solve the issue that way. And and it isn't the gun, it's the evil person. You have to punish the evil person. You have to remove the evil person from society. Because there are countless hundred millions of guns and legal gun owners that don't shoot off themselves, don't harass anybody with guns. If we were a problem, if guns themselves were really a problem, boy, would you really know it. And the answer is eliminating gun-free zones.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because gun-free zones are slaughter zones. The saying, an armed society is a polite society. And unlike the spaghetti westerns where there's a shootout every 2 minutes, that's not how the Wild West was. It was polite because everybody open carried.
Yeah.
And if
Joseph,
you were
we
dumb
have
enough,
a
well, let me finish that thought. If you were
one
dumb
second,
enough,
Joseph. Go ahead.
if you were dumb enough to pull down on an innocent person to murder them in cold blood, you had 10 other law-abiding citizens drawing down on you to stop you. It was a polite, civilized, self-policing society. That's why one sheriff could run an entire county, because everybody was armed and we policed ourselves.
Guys, I needed a bottle of water for this show.
You pulled a Marco Rubio.
Fired
Yeah.
up, but thank you. We have a tweet. Yeah. What's up, Joseph?
Go ahead.
Anyway, those damn gremlins again. Anyways, Joseph, we had a tweet come in. Sorry about that. We had gremlins on the show, but we had a tweet coming in from Helenia Rosa. Helenia, Helenna. That's Helenia, I think. Helenia Rosa is stating, Joseph, describe the current state of the union with one word. That's to you, Joseph.
Disaster.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He tried telling us it is a great economy. Meanwhile, even the left-wing polls of the left-wing media don't lie. 70% of people say they're hurting. Their bank accounts are in trouble. Their IRAs have been destroyed by this president.
Yeah, pretty much. And guys, if you want to see the clown show again, we have to plug it in, guys. Shaky, plug this in. I mean, this is terrible. This is our president, and they're saying, oh, he doesn't invoke violence. Check this out, guys.
As you all know, we used to be number one in the world in infrastructure. We've sunk to 13th in the world. The United States of America, 13th in the world in infrastructure, modern infrastructure. But now we're coming back because we came together and passed the bipartisan infrastructure law, the largest investment in infrastructure since President Eisenhower's interstate highway
Yeah,
system.
right, Joe. Yeah, right, Joe. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
you believe that
you
garbage?
gotta let me tee off on this, because
Go
this
ahead,
is
Joseph. I'll give you
indeed
the floor,
another
buddy.
issue on Retalk. Power grid attacks. Did you see in the news the other day, the FBI foiled a plot by racists who wanted to destroy the Baltimore power grid to put black people in the dark? You only heard about that attack because it fits the idiotic right-wing terrorism false narrative. And I wrote the book on terrorism. As one reviewer says, the definitive book of our times on this topic. Not me saying it, an intelligence officer saying it. I can't give his name, obviously. He has to remain quiet. But power grid attacks have been happening for the last year and a half, and we don't hear about them. We only hear about this one because they can distort a narrative. But infrastructure under Trump, we tried to pass, and the Democrats blocked it. This bill we got called infrastructure under Biden is nothing but Green New Deal scam money laundering garbage. We had a chance to harden our grid, knowing terrorists threatened and are striking it. But nothing about that in his Green New Scam infrastructure bill. Nothing. And the media, of course, keeps these all quiet because they don't want you to know, because then you'll question, why didn't they do something about it when we've been talking about it for years?
Here's something the media is not talking about, that, New York taxpayers, guys, are now going to be giving $2.1 billion to illegal immigrants, with large sums of lining pockets of landlords. Why are we giving money to countries and people that can care two shits about this country?
More money laundering. Again,
Oh
the
my
Biden
God.
administration picking donors and cronies, family and friend to funnel money to give free room and board to people who should not be here in the first place. That's an incentive for them to break the law and come here. That's the magnet we talk about. And he talked about, we need more money for this and that to secure the border. You inherited a secure border. You dismantled Trump's secure border.
Yeah, Joseph, this is like an idiot I was talking to, guys, and I'm going to plug it in real quick. We got a graphic that I plugged into Twitter the other day that I had to actually stand up for Sauce. Sauce, guys, he's still part of the show, but he's a young man. He's attending college. Wants to get his ordained ministry degree, so he can go forward with that. That's his approach. He wants to do that for a living, and I applaud him for that. Hey, everybody has different paths in life. You got to respect it. But this guy the other day, Joseph, somebody, I don't know his full handle. You got to check my profile out, because I've been having an on-air, or not an on-air, but an on. So how can I say it?
Off-air social media battle.
Off-air social media battle, guys. With thank you, Joseph.
A flame war, as they would call
Joseph
it.
was right on there, quick. Usually shaky screams in the other earpiece here on my headset. Michael, you got to get the words in right. He produces the show, but he also makes sure I don't sound like a jackass sometimes on my own show. But this guy called End Freedom for America. You go look at the profile, guys. Scroll down a little bit down by my Twitter, and you'll see the constant replies to his tweets, because he's attacking Sauce. He's like, oh, we have to tag team on Sauce because this guy Sauce is not true to his words and this and that, and he's not a true American. I stood up for Sauce the other day on the Sauce Report, And Sauce had an entire episode, Joseph, on this guy. This is what Marjorie Taylor Greene, and let me chime this in, guys. I chimed it in on the Sauce Report. I chimed in a little bit on Tuesday's audio episode with this idiot. We have to stop referring them as American liberals, okay? I applaud you, Marjorie Taylor Greene, which will be on the show soon, okay? She said that we should start referring them as American communists because that's what they are, guys. People that act like this. Check out this little audio clip here. We'll plug into the show. And that's all he wanted to do. And he did it the right way. But to call him a this and call him that and, name calling guys. I mean, come on. Are we third graders or we or we adults? I would think most of us are adults for that matter, right? I mean, you would hope so. But I just wanted to address that. Obviously you could hear the fire coming out of my voice, guys, on the Sauce Report that I was on just a couple days ago. You can go back in that library and listen to the full episode in its full entirety on iHeart, Spotify, Google, Apple, all over the place, guys, including Amazon Music. It's all over the place, guys. Highly suggest you check that episode out. Sauce and I got into some depth conversation about this fucking idiot, this leftist goon attacking conservatives, because that's what they're doing, folks. They don't have no fucking message, and that's all they want to do is just attack. Yeah, no, that's all they want to do.
You are absolutely right. I'm a former IT guy. I've been online since before the internet was actually officially created. I've been online and involved in message rooms, that they were called, on bulletin boards before social media ever came along. But this is all Saul Alinsky tactics, ad hominem attacks, because like you pointed out, they can't deal in substance, so they just attack. So yeah, you're involved in a flame war, it's called. But yeah, the best thing to do
flame war, I love that.
Yeah, just ignore a moron like that, because again, indeed, you can't have a substantive discussion with a snowflake. And Marjorie, with all due respect to Marjorie Taylor Greene, I take issue that they need to be called American fascocrats. I coined the term fascocrats. They're not communists. They are fascists. There are similarities, but there are differences.
They act like them, though, sometimes, Joseph.
Yeah, literally. There are 28 Nazi Party platform planks from the 1930s Nazi Party in today's Democrat Party platform. They are fascocrats. And like Dennis Prager says, let's make the distinction, because I got into an argument regarding Levon the other day. Because I toasted about the interview. Trans woman calls out the loony character tranny clown show pedophiles, and they refuse to make the distinction. I'm not a liberal. I don't paint everybody with the same broad brush. Every person is an individual, and you must treat them and consider them on the content of their character, as Martin Luther King said. And they are, of course, call themselves conservative, but acting like leftist snowflakes.
Yeah,
but like Dennis Prager said, like Brandon Strzok, the gay guy that formed Walk Away.
What did Joseph? What did this individual say? Were they challenging you on the show with Levon that we had on the other day? Or?
Yeah, they got hung up on the trans woman term. Oh my God, there's no such thing. Blah 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 blah.
Joseph, would they think you were having like a high train or something for trans people? Joseph was getting hung up on trans. Joseph was getting a boner with trans women. No, you weren't doing that. Why do people act like this, Joseph? I mean,
and I made it perfectly clear. I did not and do not condone that lifestyle. My Christian values haven't changed, but guess what? I'm a real Christian. I also understand the hate the sin, but love thy neighbor, love the sinner, principle. I judge, but I do not condemn, because condemnation is solely the purview of God, not
Damn
me.
right.
And
You're
like
damn
I
right.
was saying, let me finish the point about Prager, like Brandon Strzok. There are classical liberals, fewer and fewer, but they are different than the loon complete leftists. You can get through to a classical liberal like we did with Brandon Strzok, and he took the red pill. If we do it right, if we approach them with the facts carefully, slowly, and pull them on their time. But you will never get through to a wild-eyed, delusional leftist.
No, they're delusional. I said this.
Reality.
Yeah,
So
Joseph, I said.
different.
Yeah, Joseph, I said this on the Sash report the other day. Hold on, guys. I got to get new headphones. They're like warping my glasses. I look like I'm like, the glasses are like this sometimes, like going up. They're heavy as hell. They weigh probably about 4 pounds, to be honest with you. But no, I said this on the Sash report, and I said to Sas, I said, Sas, I said, why are you dealing with this guy? Like, because Sas, Sas is a young man. He's like 24 years old. And Sas was like, oh, well, what should I do? And this and that. Like, should I ignore him? And because he's getting personal. I was like, well, Sas, if you feel that he's a threat to your personal life, get a police report. I said this to him on and off the air. I said, get a police report, man, and go to that matter. I said, but don't keep on going back and forth. He says, well, you go back and forth with a couple other people. I said, well, because I'm doing it for a reason. They're attacking like children and stuff. Me with the grooming issue. I mean, that's different.
Let me make one more point about classical liberals versus leftist loons.
Oh, hold that thought, Joseph. 1 second. I know you can't hear this. 1 second. You need to get off my damn spaces. This fucking clown always comes in here to try to like spin. Guys, I wish I had the technology to plug in these spaces and everything. It doesn't pick up on the microphone for some strange reason. It's weird, but I'm not lying, guys, and everything. Go to the recording. I'm actually recording on Spaces right now, so you can actually see what the hell I'm talking. Get him out of here. Boo! You're out of here. Boo! Get out of here. You're destroying the damn space.
You're proving the point we were making about this loon Saul Alinsky style attacking sauce.
Yeah.
The same kind of snowflake loons on Twitter attack you, attack me, attack Sauce. Never substantive. They can't deal in policy because they're delusional. They don't have facts. Facts melt snowflakes. But 2 examples.
Yeah.
David Horowitz was a classic liberal. He was a card-carrying member of the Communist Party, but he red-pilled. He's still somewhat liberal, traditional liberal, but he's awakened, and he defends January 6ers. Same with Alan Dershowitz. He was and still is a Hillary supporter, but he's a real liberal. He doesn't completely deal in leftist delusion. He is literally representing pro bono some Jan 6 protesters because they are being held illegally on trumped up charges. You can't be held for trespassing when there are countless hours of video of the Capitol Hill police removing the barricades and waving people into the building. You can't be trespassed if you are invited.
Pretty much. Pretty much, guys.
I forget if it was Horowitz or Dershowitz who defends Trump regarding the fake impeachments too, because they are at least rooted. We have differences of opinion on some policy, and I think they're wrong, but I can respect them because they're at least attempting to be based in reality, unlike a complete delusional leftist loon who is completely devoid of any reality or substance.
Yeah, Joseph. Grant Cardone, who was just chiming in. Obviously, like guys, like I've been mentioning with the spaces, you really you can't hear Joseph's voice here on the spaces, unfortunately, with the technology. But he understands the tone of what's going on right now in the show through the spaces. Obviously, we're recording here for Rumble, and this will be broadcast up to Twitter later. Grant Cardone, which is a well-known individual on Twitter, agrees with Joseph. And he said, here's something that's going to blow your mind, okay? That the Democrats are willing to give giveaways right now just to get their voices out. And I applaud Grant Cardone. Thank you very much. I wasn't, kind of understand where he's going with this a little bit, Joseph. But, this is exactly he understands what you're saying in a way. There was a lot more to the tweet, but I don't want to go too much into it. But,
yeah, well, make sure you pass along to the Twitter crowd. Yeah, they need to go back and watch the Rumble when it's available to get the full broadcast. Because obviously you can't repeat every point I make just so they hear it. You need to repeat.
I'm trying to give out some feedback to Twitter Spaces. And speaking of Twitter Spaces, thank you very much, guys who did tune in. I noticed our space just end. Thank you very much for tuning in. The Spaces again, guys, will be available again this upcoming Monday. We do Mondays and Wednesdays. I like to do that because there's some feedback that people like. I guess. Joseph, you're popular somewhat on Twitter, so they like the feedback. So that's why we do Mondays and Wednesdays. And then also
I was popular on Twitter. That's why they had to ban me.
Obviously. I mean, people are hearing you to an extent. I mean, they're hearing my voice. So what they're doing, Joseph, is they're getting the demeanor from my voice coming from you. If that makes sense, So
you're channeling me, okay?
I'm channeling you. I'm like the what the hell is that? The
medium or whatever, right? Yeah.
No, the guy that does all the narrating for the movies.
Oh, okay.
The black guy. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, James Earl Jones.
James Earl Jones. This is the story of Joseph M. Leonard. Yeah, I loved him in that movie, The Sandlot, when he was narrating the beginning of that. Yeah. The kids would grow up in this and that, and eventually try to get the ball from the big monster of dog.
Yeah, I loved it and James Earl Jones. He's a leftist, but I respect him, and he shows he has a sense of humor. He was on an episode of Big Bang Theory. Where did you see that episode where he met with Sheldon at the restaurant?
I have seen that episode. Yeah. They actually did it in Young Sheldon too. Instead of they did it in the Big Bang, and then they also did it in the Young Sheldon. Have you watched the Young Sheldon?
No, I don't watch. I don't watch the spinoff show. But again, I can respect a classical liberal. I cannot have any respect whatsoever for a complete leftist moron.
Yeah, they are. Hold that thought, Joseph. We're going to be closing it out here soon, guys. I got to get this in here. Thank you. Not to Shaky, but thank you to Hello World. Just sent the email. I noticed it popped up. Because I get all the emails that Shaky gets. It's connected. I trust this guy with my life. He gets all the same emails to the show. I get all the same emails. So thank you, Hello World Talk Show. Just basically sent me a reminder. Are you going to be on the show? Of course I'm going to be on the show tonight. Why wouldn't I? Guys, check me out on Hello World Talk Show tonight at 7:30, streaming live on YouTube. It's going to be a great show. I think it's going to be a great show. I hope it's going to be a great show. I hope she's not going to butcher the hell out of me. I don't want that. And speaking of butchering, guys, we're supposed to have a guest, the Sweaty Penguin. Now, this guy, I was listening to some of his podcast, Joseph, and he seems to be like, on the left with a lot of different things. He had a thing called fracking that I wanted to talk about because he seems to be he seems to be on that topic a lot with the fracking,
He's paranoid that the planet is going to break apart.
Pretty much. He seems like one of those climate change like activists or something. But he was supposed to be on the show, and I don't know what happened to him, and it's okay.
So well, hopefully he comes on. Yeah, where the hell is he?
Yeah.
And I could deal with a sweaty penguin. I can't deal with a Pittsburgh Penguin. I'm not I'm not a Sidney Crosby or Evgeny Malkin fan. So sweaty penguin, okay. Pittsburgh Penguin, no. But seriously, fracking. You don't frack next to the San Andreas Fault. That's dumb. That could cause a problem.
Yeah.
But fracking is perfectly safe most places.
Yeah. Well, he said, get this, Joseph. I see one of his podcasts where he was talking to this doctor. Oh, here he is. Actually, wow, here he is. Welcome to the show, Ethan. We were just about ready to close it up, man. But we're gonna bring him on right now, guys. This is Ethan Brown. Runs a podcast called The Sweaty Penguin. Welcome to Savage Unfiltered, buddy. How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good.
Yeah, you just came in, so you might not have heard. Sweaty Penguin's okay as long as you're not a mascot for the Pittsburgh Penguins. I can't stand the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Joseph, come on now with that shit. Yeah. So Ethan,
just a bit of fun.
Yeah, Ethan, let me bring you into the show. Let me bring you up to speed here. What we were talking about. We're talking about I call it the clown show of last night with the State of the Union address. I thought it was like pretty much a little temper tantrum that Joe Biden was holding with the other members of Congress there, Republicans and everything, saying that things can get passed if certain Republicans would be more reasonable and this and that. What's your thoughts on last night? I want to get your thoughts on the whole State of the Union address.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch the full thing. I saw a couple clips here and there, so I can't comment on a wide scale, but I guess the small takeaway just from seeing little news clips is it's a tricky time, I guess, in the world of bipartisanship. And I think there was maybe a little more bickering than you'd like to see. This few clips I saw reminded me more of British Parliament than U.S. Congress. And as someone working in climate, trying to do things in a way that's more nonpartisan so that people from different perspectives can engage and find common ground, I think there has been more bipartisanship than we give them credit for, but at the same time, last night was certainly not a display of that from what I can tell.
Yeah. Ethan, we have a clip here. We played in the beginning of the show. I want to replay it. Obviously, it's okay with Joseph here, of just what went down last night. Okay. You guys really have to understand the demeanor coming out of the president. Because again, I mentioned this to Joseph. The State of the Union address is supposed to be about a address issued to the American public. And I felt that Joe was doing more yelling than actually speaking to the public and also to the other members of Congress. Check this out, Ethan.
Instead of making the wealthy pay their fair share, some Republicans want Medicare and Social Security to sunset. I'm not saying it's a majority. Let me give you, anybody who doubts it, contact my office. I'll give you a copy. I'll give you a copy of the proposal. That means Congress doesn't vote. Well, I'm glad to see you. No, I tell you, I enjoy conversion. It means if Congress doesn't keep the programs the way they are, they'd go away. Other Republicans say, I'm not saying it's a majority of you. I don't even think it's even a significant, but it's being proposed by individuals. I'm not politely not naming them, but it's being proposed by some of you.
Get out of here with that shit. Ethan, you notice how, one second, Joseph. You notice how, Joe Biden turned to the left or the right, I think it was to the left, where Marjorie Taylor Greene was sitting, and then right after he turned, he said that one statement, like literally directly to her. I think that was intentionally, maybe. I don't know. But do you agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene? Obviously, Joseph knows that, Joseph here, my co-host here on Wednesdays, there are mics all over that room. And when Marjorie Taylor Greene stood up and called Joe Biden for what he is, a liar, you didn't hear the actual liar come out of her mouth, but you seen the body language of her directing the word liar to Joe Biden. I got to get your insights on that, sir. Like, do you agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene standing up and literally not only standing up for the American people and saying that statement, but standing up for her party, the Republicans, and calling out the Democrats for what they are?
I don't really know because I don't follow the Social Security thing closely. I'm way too young to have to worry about it at this point beyond what comes out of my paycheck. So I think that I don't know if any policies have been proposed or what's been proposed or what's going on. All I can say is that that clip, like we were saying, shows that there is this really strong divide right now. And I think what I do in my work is to try to bridge that. I love having the opportunity to come on shows that are hosted by both more conservative people and more liberal people and talk about what I do. I find that people are very receptive to our communication on both sides, and that's something that I'd like to see more of. And I think it would have been nice to see a State of the Union that had more fostering of common ground as opposed to bickering. I also, again, didn't see the whole thing, so maybe I wouldn't be surprised if the most heated clips are the ones that are going the most viral. But yeah, it's tricky, and it's something we need to work on.
Ethan, I am glad you said what you said. You said as a young person, you don't pay much attention to it. Well, my friend, you need to, because a lot of people, the majority of people your age, say they don't believe the Social Security will be there for them when it comes time for them to retire. And guess what? Unless we do something to fix it from going bankrupt, it won't be. So we tried to do something under George W. Bush. The Democrats blocked it. We trying to fix it and save it for people like you. It will be there, but yet people oppose doing anything and just want it to go bankrupt. We need to stop giving Social Security to people who have come here illegally and have no business being on Social Security, bankrupting it, stealing money from your paycheck to give to people who don't belong here.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I
that
would
it
agree.
is there when you get older, Ethan.
Yeah, I would agree with Joseph. Ethan, I looked at a recent episode. You were talking about fracking, and I noticed that has been a topic that the president, the current president now has brought up with the fracking, right, with the climate change and this and that. Where do you stand on climate change? Because I see the whole, the sweaty penguin, and I like that little intro to your show. It's got a catchy vibe to it, to be honest with you, buddy. What's your insight on and your view on fracking? Do you think it's going to affect somewhat of the climate change, or where is it going to go from there?
Sure. So fracking is a technology that has helped extract a lot more oil and gas than we previously could. Before, you would just drill a hole into the ground and whatever comes up, comes up. With fracking, you drill a hole and then you actually run it horizontally into the shale rock, and then you create these explosions underground, which can force a lot more oil or gas into the
No. You push chemicals, safe, biodegradable chemicals to expand and force cracks, to
Yes,
force the
that's how you
cracking.
create that
We're not
explosion.
blowing up the earth. There is no explosions. And you don't frack next to the San Andreas Fault, as I said earlier, because yes, indeed, that would be stupid. But 99% of all fracking operations are perfectly safe and productive.
I didn't say we were exploding the earth. That's
You did.
But you
did.
are creating
You
small explosions 10,000 feet underground by injecting fracking fluid.
false.
That's not.
That's not explosions. It's expansion that causes cracks. That's
Yes.
like if I go push water into my front lawn, it's going to cause fractures. That's not an explosion. You're
Yeah.
completely misrepresenting, as the left always has to do, what happens.
I'm not trying.
No, I mean,
to...
Joseph's making clear points, Ethan. I mean, that's. I mean, you're talking to an individual that has over 40 years of political experience. He was just kind of, basically telling you that's what it is. I mean,
and let me be fair to Ethan.
I don't think I said anything different from what you said.
you keep using the talking point of explosions. There are no detonations. There are no explosions.
No, there's not.
Stop using the term. You've repeated it several times. You may not even realize how indoctrinated and ingrained with that talking point you are, that you keep using it.
Yeah.
I don't think that I said anything different from what you said, because that's literally it.
Well, we literally need a go to the videotape moment and play you back your own words.
Yeah, I wish technology existed that way, Joseph. But Ethan, you seem to be on the climate change. Do you feel that with the Democrats, because they're doing this, Ethan, they're spinning on narrative with this climate change? Joseph, you got to go back to the original part of this episode. We mentioned, Joseph, right, with the whole Green New Deal, okay, with all this crap that they're trying to bring out.
Money laundering.
Pretty much, yeah.
To
the money
friends
laundering,
and donors. Yeah.
Ethan, what's your stance on the whole new Green New Deal? As a young man, I know you have somewhat of that in your mind.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird thing right now, because the Green New Deal is this really, really short document compared to a lot of other bills, and there are some goals in there related to climate and other goals in there that have nothing to do with climate.
Thank you.
And when the conversation has very often been either Green New Deal or nothing, that's just a ridiculous conversation. There are other approaches and even other goals that you can have. So I think for me, I am not huge about it, to be honest, but at the same time, I think the conversation can be a lot more productive than just, do we like the Green New Deal or do we hate the Green New Deal? Let's propose other things.
Yeah.
And we have been doing that, but let's keep doing that. And if most people don't like that specific
I will agree
document,
with
do
you,
something
Ethan,
else.
that there can and could be some common ground things. But let me ask you a point blank question. Do you believe in man-made global warming? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, then explain to me why it was warmer in the 1930s, when there was nowhere near the amount of people on the planet, nowhere close to the amount of vehicles on the planet, nowhere near as anything as population centers on the planet, but it was warmer. And I could point out 5 other ice core sample times where the planet was far more warmer. Even during the prehistoric era, man wasn't even around. So spare me this man-made garbage when volcanic ash spews more toxic in
Yeah,
climate
facts.
disrupting
They're facts, Joseph.
energy.
They're facts.
Yeah.
These
The
are facts that we're
volcanoes
stating.
spew more than man does.
You know, this is some of the war. Yeah, Joseph, 1 second. These are some of the words, man. Like, you know, like the left, you know, they're always saying, oh, the right is spinning propaganda and this and that. No, how can they be propaganda? How can it be propaganda? It's facts.
Solar flares and
These are clear facts. Yeah.
sunspots. Solar flares and sunspots are far more of an issue regarding our climate than man has ever been and will ever be. Period. That is science. Science deniers, the left. You deny basic biology.
Yeah,
you are science
and yet again,
deniers.
Joseph, and yet again, the left is pushing for, you know, solar panels, and they want, you know, electric cars
making
and
us
this and that.
dependent on China.
Yeah,
they come from China.
Oh, and get this, the windmill, right? Oh, we got to bring more windmills.
Killing
into this.
whales now. The windmill farm out on the Atlantic coast, killing whales. You Greenpeace concerned about the animals. Don't say a word about that because it's a leftist agenda. It's not consistent with what you claim to care about.
Pretty much.
Was there a question in there?
No, we're
what
just
about
stating
the
facts.
dying whales? Do you care at all that your wind farms are killing eagles and whales? More than oil certainly does.
Yeah.
Well,
or coal. Where's your question?
Okay. Well, there was a lot in there. First off, where is that data coming from that you're talking about with the 1930s? Because I've interviewed people who work in paleoclimate. I've never heard anyone in science say that it was as warm in 1930 as it is today. It has warmed 1.2 degrees Celsius from pre-industrial times to now from any measurement that I've seen from scientists.
That's because you pick and choose your data.
I don't.
Moran, the founder of the Weather Channel, Climate Depot, he understands the difference between weather and climate patterns, which are cyclical.
Yeah.
So weather and climate are different.
Sure. Is it man-made? That's horseshit. The historical record shows the cyclical patterns.
Yeah. So if we go back over millions, thousands, yes, of course, climate has changed.
So you're agreeing with Joseph, then you're saying, Ethan, right? I mean, pretty much you're agreeing with him, but you just don't want to agree with him. Is that what you're saying?
Okay, if we're talking long term, no science person would disagree that climate has changed for millennia, for millions of years, because like you said, we know that from ice core samples, and it is scientists collecting those ice core samples. I have friends who do that. So yes, of course, climate has changed a lot. What hasn't happened is for climate to change as rapidly as it has over the last 100 years. And
Joseph, I think he agrees with you. He just doesn't want to. He doesn't want to admit it.
I can send you the chart.
Yeah. I would like to see what you're referring to, because I've never seen a data point that says that the climate was as warm in the 1930s as it is
Ethan,
today.
are you a scientist at all, if you don't mind me asking?
I have a degree in environmental analysis and policy. I would consider myself more of a communicator than an actual scientist, but I've interviewed over 100 scientists.
You're talking to an IT guy again that has well over 40 years of this experience that he's referring to. So I just wanted to clear that out to you. You know, he's stating facts here. He's not stating garbage or rubbish.
Here's another question: is Al Gore's An Inconvenient Truth nothing but spin and proven false? And his hockey stick graph proven false, exaggerated propaganda.
I think pieces of it were certainly a little overstated. More, I mean, certainly the branding of the oh,
Yeah.
we're all gonna be extinct by Thursday. That's not gonna
Right.
happen.
Al Gore said we'd be all underwater by now. I could show pictures of coastline from 100 years ago and now, and that water level exactly the same. Yes, polar ice caps will increase and decrease at time and make some effects. But it is a fact there is actually more polar ice than before. There are more polar bears than ever before. They're not going extinct. Time
Joseph,
after time, the leftist lies are
Joseph.
exposed as fraud.
Hey, Joseph, I think we know who won the argument here, buddy.
I've just been waiting for questions. I'm not here to argue. I'm here to learn and talk. And if you want to hear my perspectives, I'm more than welcome to give them.
We heard your
perspectives.
We heard your perspectives, but your perspectives are a little inaccurate.
On reality.
Yeah, pretty much. You know,
mine are based on having interviewed over 100 scientists, having a degree.
You're going,
in this,
but Ethan,
years.
you're going by assumptions by other people that completely.
I'm not. I'm going by peer-reviewed scientific papers.
You're going by people who are engaged in money laundering,
pretty much
taking government money to reach fudging the data. Do you remember ClimateGate emails? How they fudged the data because they want to keep the left-wing government money funding coming to them. So they give the preconceived conclusion by fudging the data.
Yeah,
Joseph, unlike
climate
data.
Joseph, you're stating facts, buddy. I mean, this guy is stating stuff from other people that could be completely inaccurate. This stuff is they're assumptions. You're getting assumptions from other people that are basically saying, oh, this is what this is. Joseph has facts. He's stating you facts. You're stating false narratives.
I wouldn't call scientific data assumptions, but I'd like to know
bastardized scientific pick and choose data.
Pretty much.
Rather than the pure record. And let's address global warming also as a reality. Okay. Stations that a lot of that data, they pick and choose the stations by which they make these assumptions about continued global warming, which has been proven false. The temperatures haven't been rising anywhere close to like they said they would be. And here's the reality. If you put a climate station outside a city in a somewhat rural area, it acts different. It's getting true readings. But then guess what? People encroach the city upon that station. And there is then cement and asphalt which retains the heat. So it is getting a false reading based on the surrounding. So in that case, it is man-made warped data, not real data. You aren't factoring in these common sense reasons why your data is skewed.
Okay, but there are hundreds, if not thousands, of these stations all over the world. They're not all in cities.
No,
absolutely. I'm sorry.
He's absolutely right on that. But he completely is dismissive of the point I just made. And again, the ClimateGate emails expose how the climate scientists, in order to continue to receive grant money, to peddle this man-made global warming farce.
Yeah, Joseph, I had to get him off the. You're stating facts, and he's going into other stuff, and it's inaccurate, buddy. It is.
You have to average all the stations. You can't just pick and choose the stations you like because they fit your narrative. So is there some degree of warming? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
but it's cyclical patterns, and a solar flare could destroy the whole fucking planet tomorrow. Has
pretty much
not a fucking thing to do with man-made.
Pretty much. This guy is trying to play like, like accurate, I'm an accurate guy, and he's creating fucking spin. That's all he's doing. Joseph,
was it Vesuvius that destroyed Pompeo? It could erupt tomorrow and disrupt the climate of the entire planet tomorrow, because volcanoes affect the planet far more than man
Joseph, I agree with what you're saying.
Will.
Joseph, one second, buddy.
But they ignore nature.
Yeah, 1 second.
They are nature deniers as well as science deniers.
Yeah. I agree with what you're saying. We're running low on time, but I had to. Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. You're good, Joseph. You're stating facts, and this fucking idiot is stating fucking unfacts. He's stating what a leftist would state. Fucking unfacts. Narratives
points.
Of spin.
Talking
points, pretty much. Guys, we're out of time. I wish I could continue this. Yeah.
Now
we're out of time, guys. I wish I could continue this.
He calls himself Sweaty Penguin. Sweaty. The penguins are sweating because of global warming. Give me a break. And I stated the fact. Polar bear populations have exploded. Exploded. They're not dying on icebergs floating. Polar bears swim out to the broken off pieces of ice. It's not because the ice is collapsing.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying.
More ice in
Joseph,
the
I got to kick us off
here,
man. We're running out of time, guys. I wish I could continue this conversation. Remember, guys, keep it savage, and we'll be back next week, next Monday, with Joseph and I. Thank you.